Nowadays, they want a check. And if you have a check with no physicality, you end up with nothing. Horns down. Let's get it.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Our intent was to eat. Our intent was to come eat and be hungry.
We're taking receipts and,
God, that's funny. Okay.
At least we
Welcome
want
back, everybody, to the South End Zone. My name is Tyler, joined always by my good friend Chad. Before we get anything, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. We appreciate everybody for stopping by. I started this episode off with a quote, and that was by Kirby Smart in his post-game press conference. He had a lot of just awesome things to say, and it was about how this team is bought in. They're playing hard. We're practicing hard. We're getting what we can out of every single guy. And he stands on the fact that, like you said, nowadays a lot of kids want to check. They don't want to come out here and hit somebody. They don't want to come out here and practice hard. They don't want to come out here and work hard. Our guys do. And he's not talking, and he made sure to specify he's not talking about Texas. He's talking about college football as a whole. But we have all of our guys coming out here wanting to play and play hard for our team. He talked about the SEAL mantra of taking them to the water and seeing how bad they want to fight. And he had a lot of great. I won't belabor it by playing the whole thing, but his post-game press conference was unbelievable. But let's not waste any time. We welcome the Longhorns down to Athens, and we whooped that ass for the third time in a row.
23 rushing yards on 17 attempts for Texas.
We took care of business, and let's not waste any time. This game was so fun to watch, honestly, because this is the epitome of peaking at the right time. People have been doubting us. I shouldn't say that, but people were like, "Oh, Georgia can't put together a whole game of football." They've been squeaking by. It's nice when you welcome a team like Texas to your house, and you just shut the door early, and you never let them back in. You hold their head underwater, and you hold it there till they don't move anymore.
How much better of an offensive coordinator is Lane Kiffin than Steve Sarkisian? Like how much better is Trinidad Chambliss than Arch Manning? I mean, we're looking at like you guys couldn't stop Ole Miss to save your lives for like
it was physicality. We came physical.
Yeah.
I'll tell you all about it, brother.
All right,
I'll tell you all about it.
Get it.
So listen, they come out, they get the ball first, and this is like honestly their first drive of the game was like their best drive, but that's like arguably like most teams' best drive because it's like these are our 10 to 15 best plays, and we're gonna run these exact plays, and we're gonna see what they give us. And usually those end up in points. We've given up points on like most teams' first drives this year. It just kind of happens, but we are able to hold them to a field goal, which is massive. We end up stalling them out. We then get the ball on our first drive, 9 plays, 75 yards, opening drive, Noah Thomas touchdown. He's been coming on more and more this year, which is massive because he was like, we keep touting the fact that we got these guys in the portal, and Zach Branch has showed up since the beginning of the season, and we've been, integrating Thomas more and more into this offense, especially losing Colby Young. Thomas has been a massive addition to the team this year. We then throw a Texas punt in there, get the ball back, 8-play, 66-yard drive with another Noah Thomas touchdown. Punt. We have Arch interception, which I said was absolutely going to happen, Chad. I was right. We unfortunately do nothing with it, though. We end up punting back. Texas 3 and out. The second quarter was a little bit of a lull. Like we come out, boom, and then it's kind of tapers off for a bit. End the half 14-3. Coming in the third quarter, we start the second half with our own 3 and out, and then it's kind of like there's a chance for a momentum shift in the favor of Texas because Gunner throws, I think it's only a second pick of the year, to Anthony Hill. It was sort of like I wouldn't say a Carson Beck type interception. It was more of like he got like, I don't know if it was a little too confident. It just was, I think it was more of just a better, it's hard to he had like our guy coming across, and Hill was kind of in the middle, and he kind of turns his head and back to the middle of the field, right? And the receiver is kind of running behind him as he is looking kind of this way, like I said, back to the middle of the field. And he must have seen the receiver because the receiver had a beat on the guy that was actually covering him. So Hill must have caught him out of the corner of the eye. I think Gunnar was going to try to throw it like right behind Hill's head, essentially, was what he was going to have to do. And Hill, being a good defender that he is, sits back on that, and the ball's literally in his hands. You know, Gunnar had an amazing night, that night. So all in all, like, it is okay. Like Kirby said, shit happens. Texas scores in that drive to make it 14-10. So then it becomes gut check time. We take that 10-play, 73-yard drive, ends in a London Humphreys touchdown. And then the call of all calls, being up 11 to pull the surprise onside kick.
Yeah.
And we recover that bitch just running away. He talked about Cass Jones being a walk-on guy from the state of Texas. Kirby said he's probably taken that rep 250 times in practice. We finally pull it out. We steal possession. We said, no momentum for you, buddy. Not going to happen.
Who was calling the game for y'all?
Chris Fowler.
It was Fowler. Yeah, I think it was Fowler who said, he was like, and he just kind of lollygags and then goes right down. He could have kept running. I'm like, no, you can't. You can't advance that. So he did the right thing.
You know what? I didn't know the rule in that either. I was like, why didn't he not just keep running? I didn't realize he had to down it.
Yeah, you can't advance it.
Okay.
It has to be touched. Now, if it's touched, then you can advance it.
Gotcha. But it was literally like a pass. It was so perfect where like you kind of hit the nose of the ball like into the turf, so it bounces up. And like Kirby even said at the press conference, it's like we know how dangerous Niblett is in the return games. I'm not giving him the ball. Mm-hmm. I'd rather kick it at their front guys all night long if that's what we have to do. And that's exactly what we did. We steal a possession back, and we then score on that possession with a loss and lucky touchdown. Texas 3-and-out, and then Gunnar Gunnar's rushing touchdown to cap that game off was the epitome of these guys want to play hard. They believe in this team. They want to fight for every yard and every point that we could possibly have out there. They want to defend every blade of grass on that football field. And when he runs it in, and it's just kind of like this, like he just like throws the ball like in a motion. And it's just so awesome to see. And then, that pretty much was the end of it. Gunnar, 24 for 29, 229, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, 6 carries, 29 yards, and a touchdown, 5 total touchdowns. And I was breezing through the Texas drives, but it was like we made Arch uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. It was like there was a lot of dropped balls from Texas receivers in this game. And I don't know if it was because like they're just not expecting it to be there. Like when it's there, like it was just like Arch was very rushed, and we were pressuring him. We did sack him, I think, like once.
Yeah. No, it was 3 sacks.
3 sacks?
Sacks for 16 yards, I think. Yeah.
Because there was a bunch that he got away. Oh, no, this sounds terrible. But there was like a bunch that he got away.
I was looking at the rushing total, and the rushing total, for 17 for 23, I was like, okay, well, how much?
You're right. It was 17.
But it was only 16 yards of that was sack yardage. So they only got 39 positive rush yardage against you guys. So
right. Excuse me. I sound like an idiot.
Very good.
But yeah, it was kind of like we're almost like at his feet, and it's like it's a little somewhat concerning because a better quarterback kind of those guys were open, so we were lucky to get the pressure that we did, and we pretty much kept him out of rhythm all night long. It was just like we're at his feet and the ball's coming out quick, and then it's just a drop ball. So their defense was playing with purpose. Offense was playing with purpose. Nate Frazier was fighting for – that was the other part of it, too. Nate Frazier was fighting for every inch of what he got. I think he ran for like 70-plus. And he played amazing. We lost C.J. Allen. He went down early. Defense still stepped up after that. I haven't heard anything yet. I know he was getting some MRIs and things like that, but definitely looked like he was his knee, leader on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll have to see where that goes. But all in all, dude, it just was unbelievably inspired football. What did I say, Chad? Kirby Smart is 17-1 at night in Sanford Stadium with that one loss being Alabama this year. You think he was going to give up 2, especially in the same season?
Yeah,
Fuck no.
I doubt it.
Absolutely not. So you could have taken that shit to the bank, in my opinion.
And the thing about it too is, so two things. One is that you're playing against a Texas team that was becoming like, I don't know if they were the hottest team in football, but they were like, their stock was rising. They were
I
starting to
call
get a
them
lot
lucky
of
team in
buzz.
football.
They climbed all the way up to the top 10. You know, all the things that make this a you better prove. You know, you better get out there and prove that you are the top dog in the SEC. And Georgia just not only proved that they're the top dog in the SEC now, but they just whooped them. And you know, say what you want to say about Texas A&M and the fact that they're undefeated and they're technically the top team in the SEC, but this was the best showing that there's been in an SEC game so far this year, where you have like two teams that are legitimately, you know, near the top of the conference, and one team just kind of takes it to the other.
And Pate made a great point. Like, do you think that we have 25 points worth of better talent on our side of the field than Texas does? Fuck no. It just came down to execution and effort. Like, that's like, and physicality. That's what it came down to.
No,
like
for
Texas
sure.
talks about all the time that they steal recruits from our state, or they flip guys that were committed to us. And Kirby stands on the fact that said, "Hey, we don't write checks here.
Yeah,
you can earn that shit when you show up." Like, you know, Zach Branch is the highest value NIL player on the team.
But he earned that by what he did at USC.
Exactly. That's my point. It's like, you're not gonna, as a 5-star freshman, you're not gonna get shit. Like, you're just not. Like, you're gonna come here and you're gonna work for it. And if you don't want to work for it, then you can see yourself out. That's pretty much what Kirby said. But you have the opportunity there. The opportunities are absolutely there. It's not like Dabo were refusing to do things.
Right.
Like, we're getting guys what they deserve, but you have to earn it. And that's what I think Kirby is walking that line perfectly, in my opinion.
Yeah. So the other thing I was going to say is you talked about, you know, the inaccuracy of Arch, and so I have my own misgivings,
he looked uncomfortable,
so to speak, about his. Well, I'm not a fan of him as a pro prospect. I don't like his throwing mechanic. He comes 3/4 sidearm on basically every throw. I don't see him. He doesn't come from up here. He's throwing the ball. He's throwing the ball here.
Yeah,
and
he had like one bat of the ball.
He gets balls knocked down a lot.
Yeah,
it creates weird angles. It's just an awkward way. And you would think with an uncle like Eli Manning, an uncle like Peyton Manning,
Peyton was
and
there,
a dad like Archie Manning, that somebody would have stepped in when he was 6 and fixed this. I don't understand it. But I will say this: when you have all that aside about like my criticisms of Arch and his ceiling, he's been playing really well lately. But when you bring pressure, yes, you're going to have guys. Oh, it's natural. That's the gamble you're taking. Is you've got to get home, or you've at least got to get close enough to getting home that you make him throw the ball off schedule, or at least where he's got his focus not 100% on the receiver. You drop 7, 8 in coverage and you're only rushing 3 or 4, and none of those guys get home or even threatens the quarterback. We've seen it with Ty Simpson. We'll get into that game a little bit later, but when Ty Simpson has all day to throw and the receivers are open by 5 yards, he looks like he's God's gift to everything, and everybody's talking about him as a Heisman Trophy candidate. When he's getting rocked in the backfield and has trash in his feet and is constantly under pressure, he turns the ball over. He makes mistakes. He's not as accurate. He's throwing the ball in the dirt and making it to where Ryan Williams can't scoop it up. Like, this is what you do. That's why you bring pressure. And if you do it and you out physical your opponent and you actually are willing to bleed and sweat and snot your way to victory, this is how you actually do it. And you've got to take those risks and trust that the guys behind you are doing their job.
Well, yeah, I think this is it's like built into that championship DNA, right? We're just gonna keep grinding it out. Also, Alabama's lucky they got us in September. That's all I gotta say. I would love to play that game right now.
Yeah,
I really would, and that's maybe a little too confident, but let me tell you something.
Oh, so be it, man.
That's kind of how I feel right now.
Yeah,
like I'm just really proud of this team right now. We have grinded for everything. We've worked so hard this year. put it together slowly and surely.
Mhm.
And that's the mark of a good coach and a good program. It's even when we're like not the most talented, which we still very much are. Like, we don't have the 2021 championship defense or the
You
22
won back-to-back natties with Stetson Bennett as your quarterback, bro. Like it's sometimes
it's culture.
Sometimes it is about the culture. That's right.
It's culture, and that's what we will always have, no matter who is playing for us. And
So-
I love Gunnar as our quarterback. I think that he should. I don't think he's going to win a Heisman, but I think he can end up in New York.
Yeah,
That's my
It's
feeling.
possible. And this game certainly put him on the radar, at least for that. So
I feel like that's the thing, is like he 24 for 29, 4
Mhm.
touchdowns, and another one on the ground is pretty damn good.
in
In a game like this,
against a really good defense too.
against a great defense,
Yeah.
and that defense still like made Gunnar worked for everything that night. And Gunnar is the most tested quarterback in college football right now.
Yeah.
And he has answered the bell every
SEC championship for the second half, playoff game. Like that's how he started his career.
Yeah. They keep
And
showing
then-
that Makuba hit that literally like knocked him unconscious for that game. He's just a gamer, man. He's exactly what we need a quarterback. I'm sure that Carson Beck is happy with his millions of dollars. We'll take the balding guy from rural Georgia any day of the week.
Yeah, well, and we'll see if Carson Beck even gets an opportunity to play in the postseason. Now, two teams that won't be involved in the playoff, but
bowl eligible.
I will say we're talking about culture and all that sort of stuff. It was on display here at this game, so this score looks uglier than it actually was. This game started off our first possession. So we get them 3 and out, or maybe it wasn't 3 and out. We stopped them, force a punt. We get the ball, and no, I'm sorry, we did not force a punt. We recovered a fumble. They drove down. That's what it was. It was definitely not 3 and out. They drove down like right through us, and then they fumble the ball inside the 15-yard line, and we recover. And a few plays later, we're punting, and they basically scoop the ball off Grant Chadwick's foot and take it into the end zone for a touchdown to lead things off. Then we give up the Blake Baker signature quarterback run for a touchdown, which when you can see it coming, you're like, yeah, watch this QB draw. And there it is. Touchdown. Nobody's even close to getting a finger on him. It's really frustrating. I was telling people, I'm no disrespect to Blake Baker, but when you are going to try to do what LSU wants to try to do, the same thing that you guys are doing in Georgia, same thing that we're seeing in Indiana with Cignetti, and we're seeing at A&M with Mike Elko. Like, you're seeing some of these schools achieving what LSU was supposed to achieve this year. And you have to point at least a finger, maybe not all of them, at Blake Baker. You go back and look at the last 2 years between Jalen Milroe. Well, actually, I guess you'd have to go 3 years because you have to do the Jalen Milroe was 2023 and 24. But Jalen Milroe, Taylon Green, Marcel Reed, and Diego Pavia have combined for 18 rushing touchdowns as quarterbacks against LSU in a total of 8 games. Now, if you have 4 quarterbacks that have combined for 18 rushing touchdowns against your defense in 8 games, there may be something like an inherent flaw in your scheme. It's a very aggressive defense. We talked about you have to be aggressive. You got to put pressure on the quarterback. But when you are playing against a running quarterback, you have to be able to do that, apply pressure, but apply pressure under control where you're not getting yourself out of position to make the tackle when he starts scrambling. When you pursue too aggressively, when you go too fast upfield, or you go too far outside of a gap to try to get the edge, you end up creating a larger gap, and that's what he runs through. So anyway, we start off this game. It's 14-0 with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. So to come back and win this one 23-22, that means you outscored them 23-8 the rest of the way. And I know it's Arkansas. I get it. But like, if you have watched this team play, Arkansas's offense was averaging like 35 points a game.
They're the best 2-8 team in college football.
I mean,
I'd say
they're up there. There's some other teams that it's crazy. There's some teams that I'm like, man, how are these teams? How are these teams so bad? Like their record is so bad. But like Arkansas, if you look at their record, it is littered with like one possession losses.
Other than the Notre Dame game, I feel like they've been close in every game they played.
Ole Miss by 6, Memphis by 1. Yes, Notre Dame they lost by 43. Okay, Tennessee they lost by a field goal. A&M a field goal. They lost to Auburn by 9 points. That's the only other non-one possession game. Mississippi State they lost by 3, and then to LSU they lost by 1. So yeah, like they are the closest to being 10-0 of the, or not 10-0, being 8-2 of the 2-8 teams.
Yep.
I would just chalk up the 9-point loss to Auburn and the 43-point loss to Notre Dame as like you lost. But the other ones, they're all like it's a possession.
It's literally a possession.
And there's a 6-game swing, and that's how close they are. But that's part of what got Sam Pittman fired, and LSU playing a team like this close and having some of the, I don't know, deficiencies or whatever you want to call them is part of what got Brian Kelly fired too. Shout out to Frank Wilson, gets his first win as LSU's head coach. Even though it's on an interim basis, I think there's still a little hope for him. He's got to win out to have a shot at getting the head coach job permanently. I don't think he's going to get it, but I think at least he's going to be in the conversation if they finish out 3-1 with under him. But the guys that we got to talk about in this game. So Michael Van Buren went wire to wire in this game because Garrett Nussmeier aggravated his abdominal injury in practice on Thursday. And there are people who were saying this is just a smoke screen for they were just going to start Van Buren anyway. And they made this like, no, actually people who were at practice, Nussmeier was taking all the first team reps and then got hurt and was pulled from practice. And then that was it. And so then Van Buren ends up taking over first team reps the rest of the week and ends up becoming the starter. And he played well. It wasn't anything spectacular, but he did like the things that you want a guy like him to do, what Nussmeier was either incapable or not as willing to do, taking the run when it's there. And Van Buren broke off like a 35-yarder at one point. He had 10 carries for 36 yards. Doesn't look that great. There were 4 sacks for 19 yards. So when you sack adjust, he's at 6 for basically 40 yards. 45 yards. 40, what is it? No. Yeah, 45 yards. So not a bad rushing total, even though a 35-yarder definitely helped that. But he was a little inconsistent with his accuracy, but he made enough plays and hit enough open guys. And the biggest thing was, bro, we ran the ball. We actually ran the ball. A total of 37 carries for 155 yards and a touchdown. And what's crazy about it is Arkansas's biggest deficiency is their secondary. And we still, rather than try to just take advantage of that, they stuck to running the ball because that's what got the job done. And shout out to Harlan Berry for dropping down to one knee to close the game out when he could have scored a touchdown if he wanted to be a little more, I don't know, a little more selfish, I guess you could say. It would have given LSU an 8-point lead, maybe 9 if they go for 2 and get it. But he did the smart thing, took a knee, and LSU ends up kneeling it out. Caden Durham led the team in rushing, though. He had a 27-yard touchdown run that helped him get there. But the real story was the defensive side of the ball. Mansour Delane is an absolute monster. picked off Taylor Green in the end zone to stall out a drive there. Had a huge pass breakup on the sideline on a late drive for Arkansas, and then Harold Perkins came and showed out. Had a sack, had a pick, had 2.5 tackles for loss. Just like an all around great effort from the defense after they got down early. And I mean, they got it done. They took care of business. Damian Ramos did enough with some early field goals to get us in position to score a couple of touchdowns and get it done. Bauer Sharp had a nice little toe tap touchdown in the corner, and we took care of business. And yes, bowl eligible, yay! This is how sad it is. We are cheering being bowl eligible in week 10. Man. Or week 11, I guess it was. No, it was week 12 because we had multiple bye weeks already. But yeah, it was our 10th game.
Seasons like this will make the upcoming feel a lot better.
Yeah, you know what makes me feel a lot better when I come home after an LSU victory? Boomer Sooner. Let's go. Oh man, we tried to tell you guys, Alabama fans, that it's just not the same anymore. I'm not saying Nick Saban wouldn't have lost this game too, but do you know how many times Alabama lost 2 or more games under Saban? It's like twice. I'm not including bowl games. I mean, there were some times where they lost a game in the postseason, but I'm talking about like regular season losses. The mode was 1 for Alabama. They went undefeated a few times. They lost 2 games a few times, but it was few and far between. Most of the time they would, lose 0 or maybe 1 game. And DeBoer is already here, and he's got a gimme this week. But then they have the Iron Bowl, and it's in Jordan-Hare.
That is a tasty, tasty game.
Yeah,
that is.
And then they've got to go to the SEC championship, even if they win that game. So like they could still be staring a 3rd loss, and if they don't win the whole thing, they're staring at another 4-loss season under Kalen DeBoer. If they don't win the SEC championship, win the Iron Bowl, and win the whole thing.
So if they lose the Iron Bowl, they are out of the SEC. That is
yes.
If they lose the Iron Bowl,
but they're still apparently in the playoff.
According to the All-State playoff predictor, even losing the Iron Bowl, missing the SEC championship, they have like a 40-something% chance, which means no matter what, the committee's not going to let them be out. Congratulations, Alabama, you are in the college football playoff already. Congratulations. No matter what else happens around you, it seems you'll be in. So
the one caveat to that could be if they find a way to like similar to what they did last year when they went to Norman and lost 24-3 to Oklahoma. Yeah. If they have something like that, like let's say they lose like 31-13, 14, something like that to Auburn in the Iron Bowl.
That'd be
Ashton
insane.
Daniels has some crazy like breakout game again, like he did against Vanderbilt. Then it's possible that Alabama would be overlooked. But I'm with you on that. I think at this point they would have to do something embarrassing to get knocked out. Or the playoff committee has shown if one of your key players gets hurt, they'll just screw you regardless of how good you are.
True.
Shout out to Florida State.
It's so crazy. Still
12-0, nah. But they have shown that that's actually what they do to get Alabama in, not to keep Alabama out. So that's probably not so likely. But yeah, this was so. We talked about it before the season. I'm just going to give us another opportunity to pat ourselves on the back. But we recommended pumping the brakes on 3 quarterbacks and their respective teams. Lenora Sellers of the, I think, 2-7, 2-8, 3-7, I think 3-7 South Carolina Gamecocks now. DJ Lagway of the, I think, similarly like 3-7 Florida Gators. Drew Aller of the 4-6, I think, Penn State Nittany Lions. And then we recommended pumping the tires on one guy and one team, and that was the Oklahoma Sooners and John Mateer. And boy, did they come out and do it. Now, it wasn't anything spectacular, but let's just look at what Mr. Mateer did. He had 10 carries for 23 yards and a touchdown, 15 for 23, 138 yards. But he did enough. They did enough. They only had 200 some odd yards of total offense, but they had a pick six. They had some other turnovers that created short fields for them, and they held Alabama. They put on what I would say is, if not a defensive clinic, it was at least a textbook go on the road and find a way to muck it up to where even if you don't statistically dominate the game, you put their offense in a blender to where Ty Simpson was seeing ghosts.
Holding an Alabama team, holding on to a 2-point lead for 13 minutes against Alabama is one of the most impressive. In Tuscaloosa is one of the most impressive things I have ever heard.
Yep.
Literally holding on to a 2-point lead for pretty much the entire fourth quarter and winning by that 2 points is in Tuscaloosa's insanity.
And this wasn't it was 42 degrees and pouring down rain or anything like that. This was like just straight up football. They just went out there and smashed them in the face. And Ty Simpson on their last or second to last possession went back. And this is without R. Mason Thomas. Let's not overlook that. R. Mason Thomas is on the sideline in sweatpants and street clothes. Like he's out, and you've got him over there just cheerleading. And dude, they just went crazy. When Simpson, I'm trying to see when that was exactly. So he got sacked by Devon Jordan. Was it their last possession?
What? When he threw the 4 and 6?
No, that was the incomplete pass. No, I'm talking about the one. Maybe it was their third to last possession that he got. Was that in the third quarter? No way. There's no way that was in the third quarter. When he got sacked and fumbled.
It was the third.
Yeah,
it was the third quarter.
Oh, it was Taylor Wine or Ween or however you pronounce his name. The big dude who was playing for R. Mason Thomas. That's what I was getting at with the R. Mason Thomas thing being out. So he comes off the edge, and Simpson just doesn't see him. And he races back to throw the ball and just gets blown up. And the ball shoots sideways. You'd have sworn he threw the ball. But that's how hard he got hit, was that the ball almost went out of bounds on the sack. And Kendall Daniels recovers it for Oklahoma. And, yes, that was at the end of the third quarter. And they got 2 more possessions. But like you said, when you take that lead at the very beginning of the fourth quarter, right after that turnover, you kick a field goal, shout out to the pants. Tate Sandell with his booty shorts or whatever, just out there kicking field goals and going crazy, doing his thing. A 24-yarder. They should have scored a touchdown on that possession, but they didn't. But they go up 23-21, and then it's 3 and out, including a sack. And then a long possession for Oklahoma. They took the ball over with 11:38, punted it back to Alabama. They got the ball back with 7 minutes left. And then Alabama was actually chewing up some clock on their possession. But then they got to around midfield. It took them 7 minutes, 6.5 minutes, whatever, to get to basically midfield.
Right.
And then that's when Ty Simpson threw that pass that was well underthrown. And it got deflected. It was a great defensive play, but I don't even know if Ryan Williams catches it at all. And if he does, he's short of the first down, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, just a dominant performance by the Brent Venables defense. I know people are going to look at the score and say dominant. They gave up 21 points. Yeah, bro. You go try to hold that team. LSU held them to 20 and lost 20-9 because it was they were willing to just kind of grind it out. Doing what they did, a pick six and holding them to 21 points. And like you said, holding on to that lead for the entire fourth quarter. When's the last time Alabama scored?
Bro, we lost without giving them a point in the second half. So
in the second half, right. Yeah, Alabama scored a touchdown halfway through the third quarter, and that was it. They never scored again. It's a problem. I think that's one of the things that people have to start looking at with DeBoer, because even against us, I think they scored 3 points in the second half against us. So it's it's a weakness you can exploit, and Oklahoma certainly did. And shout out to them, and shout out to Brent Venables, signature SEC win so far. As good as last year's was in Norman, I think this one was a little sweeter because this Oklahoma team actually has a shot at making it to the playoff. They've got a hell of a road ahead of them, though. They've done all this work. They've had one of the toughest schedules so far in college football, and they still have to go play Missouri and LSU. Now, granted, they're both at home, but still, you got to play Missouri and LSU, two very live teams that you are not going to just roll over. You are going to have to go out there and fight for every inch in those two games, because both of those schools, I think, are still playing for quite a bit, even if it's not an SEC championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, listen, I think that like a healthy Mateer, that Red River shootout game is so different.
Oh, for sure.
And then I think we're talking. If Mateer ever gets hurt, I think we're talking Mateer Heisman. We're talking Mateer for like awards and like this. And so the fact that they're still 8-2 despite him like being not healthy for like a quarter of the season is very impressive.
Being out for 2 games and then not being healthy for the next 3, probably. Yeah.
Like it's very impressive. So shout out to Brent Venables for finally, this is the reason they hired him to be their coach, like for performances like this.
And there was always the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick argument.
Right.
Well, let's examine something real quick. So, how long has Brent Venables been at Oklahoma?
Not incredibly
like 3
long.
years.
Yeah.
3, maybe 4 years.
Yeah.
What's Clemson looked like since then? I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Was it Dabo? Was it Dabo or was it Brent Venables? Yeah, and those quarterbacks didn't hurt. So speaking of quarterbacks, wow, what a Jekyll and Hyde hat for both of these teams. It's just unfortunate for South Carolina that they did absolutely nothing offensively the entire second half, because if they literally do anything at all, they still
literally anything
win. Literally anything at all. Just move the ball once. Just have one possession the whole second half. Texas A&M pulls off the comeback of the season by far, down 30-3 at halftime. And granted, look, there was some there was a fumble recovery for a touchdown. There was some goofy stuff in there a little bit. Marcel Reed throwing interceptions in the end zone and other turnovers. It was an ugly first half for Texas A&M, but South Carolina also made some plays. Nick Harbor took a slant to the house, and shout out to him for just kind of like walking right through that shoulder block. Dude,
that's crazy. By the way,
it's like
what kind of and the optics that are so bad. He shoulder blocks and then hits him with the finger in the face. I'm like, what are we doing?
Look, man, when you're a salty, prideful A&M. Anyway, this is the A&M culture, is to be like so insulted that anybody would not just like lay out a red carpet for you because they think you're the greatest like you do. Then you like get all salty and become a little bitch and do shit like that.
Yeah, what are we even doing, man? So it
was like one of the bitchest moves I've ever seen from somebody who looks like he probably works out 14 times a week.
And Marcel Reed and the Texas A&M literally follows up the worst half of football with the best half of football. Like the second quarter drive chart alone there's 12 separate drives between both teams in the second quarter. It's punt, field goal, punt, interception, missed field goal, punt, interception, touchdown, interception, field goal. Yeah. Just the second quarter alone. It's so and they go in. It's literally 30-3. And so in the second half, it's touchdown, fumble.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So Marcel Reed ends the game with 430, like 430 something through the air when all is said and done. 439, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Right.
Unbelievable. Ruben Owens. They only rushed for 64 yards in this game.
Right, but to your point, so here's what's crazy about it. It's 3rd and goal at the 1 with 3:20 left in the game, and Texas A&M fumbles the ball.
Yep.
and gives it back to South Carolina. South Carolina still had a chance to win that game, even though A&M was about to ice it.
Yep.
And South Carolina still got the ball. I was like, oh, okay, they're live. Like, this is it. This is they're gonna Lenore Sellers is gonna put the Superman cape on. He's gonna find a way. Just get him to the 35, 40-yard line, and we're kicking this thing through. And then you're just crossing your fingers, hoping that the dude makes it. And it was 4-yard pass, incomplete pass, and then he hits Harbor for an 18-yarder, then a 9-yard gain, a 9-yard pass, and then a sack on 2nd and 1.
Well,
2nd and 1 from your own 40, and you get sacked.
It's just like the Alabama game. They had a chance to make a game-winning drive, and they just shut down their leg.
Yep.
Like, it's this. I don't know if it's Beamer. I don't know if it's like the players. I don't know what it is, but like they like with the opportunity to win the football game when the odds are stacked against you against the higher ranked team, like to steal a victory for the ages, they just piss down their leg.
But here's the thing. Here's what's crazy about it. Okay, so there's ways when you have a mobile quarterback. There's ways to get him in a position to. There's no chance he's taking a sack.
Yep.
You roll him out. You create through RPO, through something, some sort of misdirection or play action. You make it to where it's going to be a lot harder. No, what do they do? It's just straight drop back, 11-yard sack on 2nd and 1. Now it's 3rd and 12. Now he takes a 4-yard sack on 3rd and 12. Then they roll him out on 4th and 16. And he got like 9 yards, 7 yards, and he got tackled on the sideline, and that was it. But yeah, if you just roll him out, get him in space, now you're creating an opportunity for him to do something with his legs, and also potentially hit something deep downfield. And if he does see any pressure, he can just throw the ball out of bounds, and it's not intentional grounding, and you're fine. You keep it pushing. But no, we took a sack with 3 minutes left in the game. So another one that was another team that is leading their conference that was on the brink of disaster. Georgia Tech tried to give this one away at Boston College. BC was up 28-17. Georgia Tech comes all the way back and takes a lead. Then BC gets a long touchdown run late to reclaim the lead. And then Georgia Tech just goes down and finishes them off with a late field goal to ice it. And it was one of those things where they basically just ran the clock down until they were ready to kick the field goal and win the game. And that was it. So Georgia Tech remains alive. If they can keep winning and get to, it's setting up now where if it becomes a Georgia Tech Miami ACC championship, because
I don't think that's physically possible anymore.
Are there enough one-loss teams ahead of Miami that they?
I believe so. I don't think that Miami can really make it. Like I don't know. Like don't let me.
Is Miami going to Alabama their way in?
Like, well, that's what I'm saying. Is like I think
not
that
even
like,
get to your conference championship game and get to the playoff is ridiculous.
That's like what I'm saying. Is like I'm pretty positive. Like, yeah, you still have Georgia Tech, UVA, Pitt, and SMU all with one loss. You have 4 teams. And I believe that Pitt has to play Miami and Georgia Tech to finish out their season. So like you might be looking at it like there's a chance we have an SMU, UVA, ACC championship. It's gross. It's gross all the way around.
That would be disgusting and terrible. Yeah, we don't want that. But anyway, so yeah, Georgia Tech stays alive. Shout out to Haynes King for putting it together, because Drew has been kind of trumpeting Haynes King as his guy he thinks should win the Heisman.
I think he's great.
And I don't know if he's
I don't know if he's
Heisman great. I think he's having a great year, playing really well. No shade against him or anything like that, but I mean, he goes 26 for 34 in this one, 371 in the touchdown. He also adds 53 on the ground, no touchdowns on the ground, but just like overall finding a way to will his team to victory, seemingly week in, week out. He certainly should be in the conversation, but I just don't know. Like, does he have that signature pelt on the wall? And does he have the overall gross numbers? 2259, but only 10 touchdowns passing and 2 interceptions. Now he does have 14 rushing touchdowns and 807 rushing yards. So, overall, very productive player. But I just wonder if, almost single-digit touchdown passes for a quarterback gets you into New York.
Do you want to do a quick exercise in ACC championship?
Yeah, I'm actually pulling it up
pull
right
it up.
now.
Okay, I had it up on my screen.
Oh, you have it already? If you're ready, go ahead.
Yeah, let's do it. So we'll do it real fast because we'll keep moving from the. All right. You see me?
Yeah, hang on. All right, this one. I hit the basketball one instead. Yeah, I see it.
You see me? Okay, so let's see. So we have this is the for those who don't know, this is me and Chad's little secret.
Holy cow! Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to B-Ball Nothing, whoever this MRed, whatever. This thing is insane. I highly recommend bball.nothing.net. I'm sorry, bball.notnothing.net.
So let's see. So we have next. This is our final ACC slate of games. Mm-hmm. This is gross. Florida State, sure. I would say NC State probably wins that game. Georgia Tech, Pitt. We'd say Georgia Tech, right? Duke, UNC. Yeah. We have Duke, SMU, Louisville. What do we think?
SMU, they're playing in Dallas. So the left team is the home team, by the way. In this,
so you want to keep that as is?
Yeah.
Okay, Stanford, Cal. That's gross. I don't care. Yeah. Miami, Virginia Tech, sure. SMU, Cal. SMU wins. Duke, Wake Forest, sure. Yeah. So you have a Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, SMU, and then Virginia doesn't make it in because.
So you must vary. So this is not like a full.
Yeah. Well, so it's a winning percentage thing, and it's like sometimes it's like really, really.
Yeah.
Oh no! Wait. I think this is the where it gets into who would be the highest ranked of the two teams. So it's just saying like this is not it's impossible to predict. But yeah, let's say you flip that one and maybe flip Miami Pitt. Miami because Miami. No, we want Miami to stay in. Who else would it be? Let's try to create some like what losses would have to happen if Georgia Tech. Let's just say some hypothetical.
SMU loses to Cal.
SMU loses to Cal. That's very possible. Going on the road out to the West Coast.
Louisville beats SMU. That's what
Louisville. Yeah. All right. That's more. Wait, but let's do one more. You still need another one. Another one. We need another one. Who would Duke lose to?
Wake Forest, maybe.
Wake Forest or
UNC.
That would be crazy if North Carolina beat. That's like they hate each other so much. It'd be so great. Let's just say it's Wake Forest because Wake Forest pulled off that big upset against Virginia last week. Or did they almost pull
that is your chaos enough scenario for
that's
Miami
the only way. Yes, the only way Miami makes it is if
Pitt would have to beat Georgia Tech, and then Louisville beats SMU.
And
it's actually not that much of a chaos.
Duke would have to lose one of their last two games. Yeah. But the other thing is Miami has to win out. Look at Miami's schedule too.
They play Virginia Tech and
Virginia
Pitt.
Tech at Virginia Tech, and then Pitt at Pitt.
Yep.
Those are not. This is Miami we're talking about. This isn't your standard normal. This is a team that lost to Louisville, and who did they lose to before that?
Notre Dame. Oh
no, they beat Notre Dame.
No,
who did they lose to?
Why does Miami have two? Oh, SMU.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's when all the kids were jumping off the 6-foot brick wall. Yeah. So, yeah, this is the kind of stuff we're talking about here.
Yep.
It's crazy. To me, Miami doesn't belong in this thing, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to get a crack at it. We'll see. Moving right along. So a team that does have a shot at it, USC, kind of coming out of nowhere and like plugging along, and here they are in the thick of the conversation for the playoff. Iowa is not, although they seemed like they were a couple of weeks ago. How the mediocre have fallen to become just the mediocre that they always are. We've talked about this. This is what Iowa does. They, Jeremiah likes to talk about fool's gold and Tennessee, and not disagreeing, but Tennessee only had 2 losses last year. Went to the playoff. Iowa is not coming anywhere near the playoff anytime soon. And they just keep maybe Kirk Ferentz got another extension because why not? But USC has their work cut out for them. They have Oregon coming up this week.
That's going to be a great game,
Oregon.
by the way.
Yeah, at Oregon. So you got to go to Eugene. I know it's just a trip
at
north
Oregon.
for them.
I thought it was down.
Yeah, no, it's in Eugene.
Oh,
And then they've got UCLA at home to close out the season. And look, all shit talking about UCLA aside, this is one of those rivalries that I would
the
not
Battle of
put it
LA.
past, I would not put it past UCLA to find a way to gut one out and beat you. So if USC somehow beats Oregon, they still have that rivalry to
That's
deal
also
with.
chaos if USC beats Oregon.
But Oregon, and the thing is, even if USC doesn't beat Oregon, Oregon's work is not done. They still have a game at Washington after that. So they've got this USC game at home, and then they've got at Washington. So they've got a couple of what could be losable games, and then they would have to go to, theoretically, waiting to see if the committee will take the non-Big Ten champion if they somehow lost both of those games, or even lost one of them. I don't know. Like when you're talking about you're already at number 8, if you cough one like this up and you fall to like 12, 13, 14, you're playing with fire. So USC and Oregon may be playing for a spot in the playoff. It's not to say that if USC wins that Oregon is out, but if Oregon wins, USC is certainly out.
Fair enough, man. Listen,
Yeah.
the Big Ten could get interesting. We'll see, but probably not. We'll
What's
let them play it
not
out.
interesting is Notre Dame's
could have
path
seen
to the
this coming from a
playoffs.
mile away. Like,
Yeah,
yay.
right. Notre Dame's
don't
path to the
worry.
playoff.
Pat
is
Narduzzi
paved
never
with
was worried
pudding.
about it.
Yeah, right. The only thing I'll say is, like, shout out to Jeremiah Love. Dude is a monster. I don't know if you saw that 56-yard run, but he just put
I
like
saw him
this
hit the
wicked spin
nastiest.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just took it to the house. Yeah, he's a beast. I just hope he gets the Heisman love that I think he deserves, because
I don't know, man.
he's been a very consistent performer. But all right, you say that.
No, I'm just saying, like, nobody respects the running back.
Oh, that nobody respects the running back. Yeah,
no,
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I mean. It's like,
So you're with me.
we had
You're with
Ashton
me. You just don't
Genty.
see it happening because they just
because people are stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Ashton Genty literally threatening Barry Sanders' single-season rushing record, and he just, Travis Hunter, shut up.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
fucking hate
Travis
that.
Hunter. All right.
Makes me more and more mad every time.
Yeah. So Jeremiah Love's lines. So he had a rough game against Miami. No touchdowns and only 33 yards. But then 94 and a touchdown, 157 and 2, 57 and 2, 103 and 1, 86 and 2, 228 and 1, 136 and 2, 94 and 2, 147 and 1. What's that?
Is he over 1,000 yet for rushing wise? I think did he eclipse 1,000 yet?
Yes, he is at 1135 and 14 touchdowns.
Well, and this is the thing, and he's having some of the volume split with Jadarian Price, who is like they're going to combine for 2,000 yards by the end of the season, like no doubt about it. So yeah. I mean, also once again, congratulations Notre Dame, you are in the college football playoff.
Right, by default. You know who else runs the ball?
Run
the Navy midshipman, my boy. Holy cow!
Run the ball.
You know what they did though? They actually threw the ball in this game. I was very surprised, but Navy came to play. They were just like, oh yeah, okay, you're gonna stack the box against us. Well, we're gonna run the ball just like we normally do, but we also are gonna throw the shit out of the ball.
We're gonna run the ball like we've been doing for 100 years, brother.
53 carries combined as a team for 338 yards and 4 touchdowns rushing for the Navy midshipmen. Blake Horvath put up 21 carries for 60 yards of that. But then he got hurt, and he got replaced by Braxton Woodson. And Braxton Woodson said, oh, yeah, hold my beer. 9 for 103 and 2 touchdowns.
So that yards
including a 64-yarder to ice it. And it was just like, but the thing is, they also threw the ball a little bit. 10 of 19 for 186 yards and a touchdown through the air for Navy. They put up almost 550 yards of offense on South Florida.
And
South Florida did not have like a horrible game offensively
put up
themselves.
550.
They put up 550.
What the fuck?
That's what I'm saying. It's
Byron Brown still went for
Byron Brown
327
had he had like an 80-yard touchdown or 60-yard touchdown.
Bro, Byron Brown accounted for like 400 yards of offense.
Yes, I'm telling you,
That's insanity.
He tried to put them on his back, but they just they could not stop Navy on defense. It was so bad.
Wow. Holy shit, man.
It was an insane offensive performance on both
Shout
sides.
out to the American for just giving us like good games week after week.
And also, shout out to James Madison for this game kicking the door open for them to get one step closer to making it.
What did I say, Chad? What have I been saying?
You told everybody before the Louisville game. And they had Louisville up against the ropes in the second quarter. But then that was about it. But yeah, they're live as hell, and we'll see what the Dukes can do. And I think it would be I don't think anything would be more fitting than this. Just follow me here real quick. All right. Indiana beats Ohio State to win the Big Ten. What does that mean?
Indiana beats Ohio State.
That Indiana's the number one overall seed.
Yes. That Ohio State would be a first-round host.
Oh, no. We would need to go the other way. We need Ohio State to beat Indiana. That's what it is. Yep. So Ohio State needs to beat Indiana.
I see where you're going with this.
Ohio State beats Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. That makes Indiana very likely the 5.
Yeah, they'd be like the 5 or the 6.
And they're the 5. We need them to be the 5 because JMU is going to be the 12.
But
it would be epic if James Madison went to Bloomington to play against Kurt Signetti. And
dude, that'd be awesome.
That would be so cool to have James Madison against.
Let me tell you something. If ESPN and the College Football Playoff Committee can make that happen, they absolutely will.
They will absolutely do it, and they will tell us that they don't do that. But we saw it. We see it every year with the basketball tournament where it's like, that's interesting. So you're telling me that Rick Pitino is going to play against Louisville in the tournament, and that John Calipari is going to play against Kentucky in the tournament. How'd that happen?
Weird.
No way.
And that Coach K is going to play against UNC in his final year.
Exactly. Right.
What?
No way. It's crazy. What are the chances? Serendipity. Anyway, we hope everybody's enjoyed this. I have. We finally got a win, and I don't have to worry about this hat anymore because losers. Anyway.
Hey, listen, it's SEC Cupcake Week at least for us. Sorry, Chad, you guys still have to play SEC games all the way up until the end. Sorry, brother.
Well, no, I mean, we have Western Kentucky this week. So
you do? Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you had one more.
We have Oklahoma a week after next, but
okay.
Yeah, you guys just wrapped up your whole conference schedule early because we got Georgia Tech.
It's always weird because we always
guys
have
in Florida
wrap it up early.
Yeah, you guys in Florida because they play Florida State and you guys play Georgia Tech last game.
Yeah, we played the Charlotte 49ers coming up this week. We'll still have a preview for y'all coming out later in the week, but we appreciate y'all for sticking around this long. If you did, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. Go Dogs, go Tigers. This is the South End Zone. Horns down. We out.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen. Our intent was to come eat and be hungry.
We're taking receipts, and we'll see you at the national championship.